Did you guys come up in the elevator? You saw the chair? Who sat on the chair? No one? Come on, one person, two people. Nice. Now to be more serious, how many people in the room are actually building products? Designers, software engineers, product managers? Maybe 90% of the room. Okay, keep your hands up, hi. Who talked to a customer in the past week? Keep your hands up if you talked to a customer in the past week. Okay, we went, I think, from 90% to 50, 40. This is what we're going to cover today. I have a few surprises. This is the only slide where I'm going to talk about nuclear energy. Nuclear, building digital products for nuclear energy, I like to say, is a different planet for digital technology. The reality of building products in nuclear is that moving fast is complicated. Of course, as Belen was saying, we want to move as fast as we can. We do 2-week sprints, we try to deliver, but there's a lot of things that push us to move slower. Safety culture is very implemented inside of nuclear. We've all heard big disasters, the history with nuclear coming from military. We even have different frameworks to keep security, just to give you guys a taste of all the weird things we do in nuclear. ALARA, as low as reasonably possible, reasonably achievable. We need to keep everything on the most secure side that we can. CAP, we have a corrective action program. Whenever there's an error, and we have these sometimes in software, there's a whole procedure that we need to follow, sometimes for months on end, reporting on why that error was caused, etc. Human performance is a specific framework that was developed in the nuclear industry to show why certain behaviors lead to errors. So for example, myself, I have to file 2 human performance observations every month just to keep, and these can be things like someone was walking up the stairs and didn't grab the railing. Someone didn't tie his shoelace, he was standing in the middle, and I have to talk to that person, say, hey, you're not holding the railing, and then I have to file that on a system. Conservative decision making. I have project managers on my team that I would say have zero appetite for ambiguity. When something is even close to ambiguity, we don't like it in nuclear. Procedures everywhere. As I was saying before, average contract size is huge. Belen gave great examples before. Average contract size in nuclear is probably in the millions. So you can imagine the amount of paperwork for even a small SaaS license has to follow, because nuclear power plants are used to a... Whoa. There we go. Nuclear power plants are used to a procurement procedure that's designed for huge contracts. So a lot of... Let's see if we can take this off. There we go. So a lot of work tied to any kind of contract. Highly regulated industry. Does anyone in the room know what export controlled technology is, for example? Raise your hand. Someone? Great. So there's certain technology that it's just another example of how things work in nuclear that's export controlled. So I work for an American company from Spain, and many of the documents that I handled are export controlled. This means that whenever I have to send them to another country, I have to go through a long procedure to validate that. For example, sometimes I can't travel with my computer, with my laptop, to a country because it contains export controlled information. So I have to warn my company before I go to travel with my computer. Just to give you a taste of how slow things can be, just if you want to travel to a breakfast or to a customer meeting in another country, you have to warn with a month so they can provide another laptop for you, so you can do your demo. This is young Alex. I don't know if the impression was good from ChatGPT. He's starting out as a product manager in the nuclear industry. And my first boss in nuclear came from sales, from customer success, customer solutions. And whenever I had my first product job, I would always ask her, hey, what's the priority? Like, I have this huge list that never ends of things that I have to do. What should I focus on? And she used to tell me always the customer stuff is the top priority. So we used to joke that I would get that as a tattoo, so I didn't have to ask her anymore. And I think This is what we are going to talk about today. We have two sides of the coin in product management. Belen was talking a lot about this before. We have discovery, the things we do to find out what we want to build. And then we have delivery, which is the actual building, right? In an industry that's moving slow, which of the two would you think is more important? Very good. I would think many people would say delivery, but no. To me, if you're moving slowly, if you have to make sure that you're going in the right direction, if you're going to build something and you're going to spend a lot of money in building it because you have to follow certain procedures, certain security controls, you have to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. So right now, my work is more like this than the other way around. Does anyone know this documentary? Raise your hand. Okay, one person, great. This should be, for me, obligatory watching. I'm very geeky about product management and technology. Obligatory watching for anyone working in digital technology, especially if you're working in product management. Very, very interesting story. Anyone know what year the iPhone was released? Any Apple geeks in the room? 2007, very good, 2007. This drawing is from 1989. Okay, they were a company that was building something very similar to a smartphone in the 90s. And the story is very, very interesting. They actually got this thing out, huge investments from Apple, a huge technology team, the best in the business, and no one was buying it. Why? Because they were focused on what they could make, not why anyone would want it. This is a quote from Tony Fadell's book, Build. He's actually in the documentary. He's an intern there. And then he went on to become the father of the iPod and help Steve Jobs build the iPod. So very interesting stuff. So if we're moving slower, you have to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. So we have here a framework for product discovery, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And my theory is that the base layer is actually building relationships with users. I think Belen touched on this a lot before. The first layer is user interviews. Second layer, usage data, which I'm not going to talk about a lot today. And the third layer, making sense of it all, mapping opportunity space. This is an episode from Lenny's podcast that I listen to a lot. Very recommended for anyone starting out in product or even experienced, with Jeff Weinstein, the product lead at Stripe, multi-million-dollar company, a guy that's probably got a ton of stuff on his plate, right? What does he say? He says, the moment the customer felt compelled enough to go out of their way to talk about some problem, that's an unbelievable gift. I will leave a meeting to just get one message back to them. When I heard that, this guy, he's in a C-suite meeting with making, 10 times my salary probably, and he's leaving the meeting to respond to a message from one of his customers. And he's not saying this is a customer that's paying him millions of dollars. This is just a customer that he's identified as a reference, right? This guy is trying to build a relationship with that person. And I think building relationships with users is part of a secret weapon that we have as a business-to-business product manager. Why? Because if you build a relationship, you need to build real empathy. If you're in the room, like Belen was saying, seeing someone that's trying out your product, you get to feel exactly what they're feeling, their pain points. You develop trust with that person. When this typical thing that happens in B2B, hey, I would like you to build 10 features or we're out. For me, with the customers with which I really have a close relationship, I know that's not going to happen. Why? Because they trust me. They trust that if I'm not doing something, it's because I can't do it. Not because I'm playing them or because I'm off doing someone else's things. It's really because I've done my best to do it. With data, we have few users, less data insights. And I myself come from a data science background. So I love geeking out on usage data, analyzing all the cool stuff that Belen was saying. But I feel like often in B2B nuclear, at least, and high-ticket B2B, talking to customers is faster and more effective. If you have a problem, you want to run it by someone, you can either take 15 minutes or you can instrument a full data pipeline to measure it inside of your app, and sometimes only get 10 clicks, 20 clicks. What is that data really telling you, right? Real user quotes are rare. They are very high leverage. Stakeholders, I don't know in your companies, in my company, they're very, very hard to convince. Whenever I want to push something, very difficult, right? The thing that I found works best is when you bring real user insights to the table. Also, and this was also referenced in the earlier talk, B2B buying decisions are easier to influence. Normally it's one person making the decision over a lunch or over a dinner. And if you have a good relationship, if your sales team, if yourself has a good relationship with that person, you can win or keep customers. So this is actually moving the base numbers. And also I see this sometimes framed as we need a high-flying sales team to build all these relationships. Oops, let me see again. I'm afraid of touching anything. I don't know if I messed it up. There we go. I think it's more you should go out to build the relationships yourself as a product manager. You can have a sales team, of course, sales has their thing, right? But I think you need to also build that relationship and transmit that trust in your product because you are the one building that product, right? So this is all very good, Alex. You were talking about building relationships, but how do we actually do this? And hey, Alex, what is this random picture of an Indian guy in your slides? I like to travel, and when I travel, I like to take pictures of people. Portrait, I really love portraiture because I feel like this says something about the person, right? So I thought this was a very good fit with the theme of the presentation of talking to people and creating relationships. Step one, first you should choose your reference customers. Even if you have 60, 70, 100 customers, you need to see where you want to focus on next. The place where you want to grow, the vertical you want to grow, and this can only be one place. You have to choose customers to talk to and to develop relationships with inside that vertical. Step two, you need to do continuous interviewing. And this is something that, for example, in my company, I've had to push for a lot. Weekly interviews, weekly customer touchpoints. In these interviews, you have to learn how to interview customers. First, you have to go from identifying solutions to identifying problems. But I also mentioned this. I think it's a recurring theme. When someone asks you for a red button in your app, they usually don't want that red button. They want that button to be more visible, right? Which is the problem. And you as a product person, when they're asking you for a red button, you have to think, what is the problem behind this? It's actually making the button more visible. And you have to figure out the way that you solve that, because building the red button is probably not the best way. You have to go from pitching to silence. Ask a few questions and stay quiet. Try to discover what their problems really are. If you start saying, hey, I'm Alex, I'm the product manager, or I'm the CPO, or I'm this product, and we have this product, and this does this, and what have you done? You're losing a great opportunity. You have to listen to the people. They are the ones that are going to tell you what direction to move in. You have to ask for specific examples. Humans are not good at generalizing. Don't ask, how many times do you use this? What do you think is better? You should ask more, what is the last time that you used it? Don't ask leading questions. Try to focus on the job that the person is doing. Step three, document and share these insights with your whole team. Put them in a place where your whole team or your whole company can access. And step four, map the insights. This is very well covered in these two books, Continuous Discovery Habits, Teresa Torres. Number one book recommendation that I have for anyone working in product. Really, really enjoyed it. And Competing Against Luck, Clayton Christensen, Jobs to be Done Framework. Very, very good book. About documenting, and this will be available, I think the slides will be distributed, but I just wanted to share this. This is how we document stuff in my products in my company. This is an interview snapshot. It's based on Teresa Torres' work. You can really write very few things and communicate a lot. If you do a summary, stakeholders can see this, and you can use this to gain insights and to negotiate them later. And this is Alex, again, talking to a user. You can tell I'm a nervous guy, so it was very difficult for me to learn to stay quiet in user interviews. He has his best face on and is waiting calmly. But once you really start to do this, when you really start to use silence and really listen to the person that's talking, you start to discover that it's really worth it. For example, in one of the products that we manage in my company, we decided to change the homepage of a product that was working for 20 plus years with large recurring revenue due to insights produced by jobs to be done and continuous discovery. And everyone was really happy that we changed that homepage. This would have been impossible without listening to what the user really wanted and going in there without assumptions. And we're getting close to finishing off. You thought we weren't mentioning AI. I come from an AI machine learning background. Before I was into product management, I was a technical folk, programming machine learning and data science products for the nuclear industry. So this is really someone to follow. Chip Huyen, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, sorry if I didn't. She has great books if anyone wants to learn the more technical side of creating machine learning products at scale. AI engineering, designing machine learning systems. This one, they actually gifted me for my birthday, some friends last year, so very, very nice gift. And she actually published a post on LinkedIn 2 months ago. And this post is very interesting. You have a link there to the actual post. What people think will improve AI apps and what actually improves AI apps. And the first one, what people think, stay up to date with the latest AI news, and what actually improves them, talking to users, right? And she goes on to list a ton of things that you can do to improve your AI applications without going to the latest hype and the latest technology trend. Finding what your users really need and what will really improve their product. These are just some references and inspiration. I'm, as I said, very geeky on these kind of things, so I really love to share. If anyone has any questions or wants more details on any of these, be sure to reach out. Some highlights here. These are some books we covered on the talk. PM in Practice. Anyone starting in product? They actually had Matt Lemay in the last, I think, 2 product tanks ago. Very, very cool book, very practical on how to do product management. Some podcasts, Lenny's, Lex, and Dwarkesh, they are more machine learning, AI side. Newsletters, Lenny's newsletter, great content. If you want to stay up to date with AI, even if that's not the most important thing, right? Andrew NG, The Batch, very, very good weekly newsletter. Hacker newsletter, if you're like me, you like geeky people doing nice and weird, wonderfully weird stuff. That's a great place to go. And then the documentary for General Magic. And just to finish off, we are hosting Lenny's meetups in Madrid. So this is a picture from the last one. You can see, I think Belen is there, some other familiar faces in the audience. If you guys want to join, we're doing another one on the 27th of November. So we've not announced it yet publicly, but we will be doing so in the coming days. So that's my LinkedIn and my email if anyone wants to reach out for any questions or just general chat or feedback. I love to hear what you guys thought of the talk and see what things you learned, right? And just to finish off, this is a picture of 1969, the lunar lander Eagle going back to the main module that had just, for the first time, gone around the moon, right? And I think it's incredible that we did this. This is a constant source of inspiration for me that in 1969, we actually did this. So I'm a very big technology optimist and think we can get to places that are really crazy. And this quote from Kevin Kelly, someone to follow over the long term, the future is built by optimists. So yeah, stay optimistic about the future. And if you're an optimist, also it's much easier to build relationships because you are always bringing that good energy to the table. And I think that's something that we should be doing as product people. Thank you very much.